Call this meeting to order. This is the work session meeting of the Mayor and Council for Monday, December 4th, 2017. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Borough Hall, by email to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same, as provided by law, of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. I'd like to remind all members of the public that we have 3 fire exits in our council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to be in closed session. We have 2 items to discuss. Board session, please call the roll.
Here. I think you threw me with the Alfredo. Hungry? Ready.
Councilman Davis Jackson and Councilman Layla.
Here.
And Mayor Minot.
Here. Okay. I would like to consent agenda first. Work session consent agenda is amending our agreement with Anthony Suarez, our co-counsel, and the amount not to exceed $3,000. It's just updating him to have.
Yeah, to take us through the end of the year, possibly into next year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? For administrative topics, number 1, CDBG grant applications.
Thank you. We have 3 possible applications before the Community Development Block Grant Program. We are only allowed 2. So tonight you have resolutions 401, 402, 403. I'd like you to make a decision on 2 of the 3 applications in work session, and then you would end up tabling one of the resolutions that's listed. The first resolution, 401, is for $175,500. We have an engineering estimate from Costa Engineering for the what we're calling the change of the Oxford Circle from its existing configuration to one where there is parking in there with a proper roadway going through. 402, resolution 402 is for $171,500, which would be for the resurfacing of Oxford and/or Rutgers Place. We have had 3 phases of work for community development, doing some minor sidewalk work, but mainly replacing the curbs in that area. And the third resolution is 403, $5,000 for wellness activities for the senior citizens. As you're aware, at the last meeting, I did ask the liaisons to go back to school and see if they are receptive to having programs like this, rather than just doing the application and announcing we have money for it. So I'm not sure whether the word has come back from school as to whether they have any interest in it. The problem is that we do have a deadline of December 8th to have these in the Office of Community Development Block Grant. I need resolutions as part of the application. So I do need a decision tonight on which applications to submit.
I think we would at least table the Oxford conversion, because the cost is $176,000, and we got $60,000 last year, and they're expecting almost up to a 50% cut this year. So I don't know whether, until we get into our budget, we'll even have the money to supplement it. If we did get 30, it doesn't look like it's something we'd be able to phase. So I would suggest that we don't do that one, and I'd be more inclined to do continuation of the regular Oxford one, because whatever we get, we probably can just scale and do as much as we can for whatever money we get, and keep the senior citizen.
I agree, so moved. Second.
Any more discussion?
So if somebody would move the table at the meeting 401.
So moved.
When we get
We have a motion second to accept these recommendations. All in favor?
Aye.
And then you can adopt the process. 2, contract Puccini Associates, which are utility workers.
Yes, we had a contract that we awarded in 2013 with this vendor. It was supposed to be a 24-month contract, but it could only be terminated if we gave due notice, and we never gave due notice. So we have made some payments to Coteen. They were scheduled to receive 40% of the savings that we generated. So approximately, we had $10,000 of savings over these years. They received close to $4,000, and we accrued about $6,000 in savings. I have to tell you, though, that this is a very unique area. I don't make any representation as being able to verify whether we have these savings or not. Frankly, you need another expert to check on their work. I guess the question for the council is, do you want to continue this contract? If not, your options are to provide notice, do final billings, and then we would conclude this contract. That would not stop you from going out to bid again and seeing if they are the low bidder, and then doing another 2 or 3 year contract once you devise the specifications for that.
Just one clarification, on the agreement, they get 40% of any savings that they realize for 24 months. So they don't get that 40% forever until you say no more. It's as soon as they tell you we've saved you $10 on this bill, on the phone bill, they get $4 a month on the savings for the next 24 months. So I don't know if they've had any savings or they've after their initial audit, if they've come back and said we've had initial ones, that's something you're going to have to look at. But
They have.
It's
Pretty
only-
well,
it's only-
that's $100,000.
that's fine. It's only 24 months still from when they realize the savings. You're not paying 40% forever until you tell them.
To me, if they only found 10,000 now, it looks like they probably have found whatever they're going to find.
Exactly.
So, a motion to give notice of the option?
Yes, give
So moved.
notice of termination.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, that'd be our resolution for our next meeting.
Well, I think it's just a letter. I'll see what the borough attorney is the most appropriate way to do it.
Yes.
Item 3, elected officials JIP training, River Edge is the host.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. As you know, the mayor and council have to go through training by the Joint Insurance Fund. We receive a $250 credit for each one of those elected officials and myself that goes through the training. The training was offered down at the League of Municipalities. Some of you, I think, were able to take advantage of that session down there. The training will also be available electronically, although I haven't received the instructions yet to pass those along to you. In addition, the JIF does provide in-person training at various locations throughout Bergen County. If you would like to hold one of those training sessions here before a council meeting, that could be done. They would come here. It's about an hour in length. We would open it up to other towns that might want to send their elected officials here for that training, and you could accomplish it in one evening. For those of you that haven't taken the League of Municipalities version or would prefer to do it electronically, it's just a thought to have it, make it a little bit more convenient if you don't want to travel to another location.
I would prefer to do it electronically. I mean, if the council, I don't know who's taking it down at the league. I think Mary did, and that was it.
I took
No,
it.
Mary didn't take it. Mary and Vito were going to, but then there was something that
I
took
think I was the only one that took it.
So,
I
personally,
usually do it online too.
yeah, I prefer online, but if you guys want to do it in session, I'll do it, but I prefer electronic.
Well, you don't have to be here if the session is like 5 to 6,
I mean, just for us to host it.
we would host.
Yeah.
Nobody's hosting a meeting with Alan, so.
And Alan, that's fine. Do you want to host it? Wouldn't that be?
We've done it many years ago. We did it many years ago. New Milford has done it, there's other towns. Yeah. I have no problem. We'd make it more convenient for those that need to take it, and we would do it an hour before our regular meeting.
Okay.
Work session.
Sure.
You want a motion? Or?
Yeah.
Make that motion that we host. the JIF train.
A second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. Host your party. Okay, that's it, all right. There was no other topics for discussion, we took care of the work session, I don't have a report. No, your information, unfinished business, the senior community center, I guess I'll just update. Councilman Aquafeda, Councilman Bartoloni, and I met with representatives of the Shade Tree Commission again. They had some new concerns yesterday, had looked at the plan a little closer. We forward their concerns to the architect, and he's seeing what may or may not be done from a feasibility standpoint, and we haven't gotten any more directions at this point, so we have to wait to see what the architect comes back with. Fair enough? Joe?
I talked with Al, we have a date set yet for the public kind of presentation of the plans. It wouldn't be until the first of
At
the
this
year.
point, yes, because the changes that they're asking could be substantial, if they're feasible, but there's other constraints that,
What are they asking?
they're concerned about the number of trees that have to be removed. And it may not be possible to reconfigure the site the way they want to, but since we have the architect looking at it, and until we get some direct feedback, we'll reserve judgment until he gets back to us.
And just to add on, I'm meeting with the cultural center
Oh.
on this coming Sunday, so at their normal meeting, so I'm going to that.
Shade Tree Commission, I don't think anything's come up with that.
Mary, you had suggested in the past that we remove it from unfinished
Yeah.
business. Are you still in that?
I would
line?
think so.
I make a motion to remove Shade Tree Commission's unfinished business as a regular listed item.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have any remaining unfinished business?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, I was just wondering if we had an update on the crosswalks, the one at Wayne Avenue and Kindercomack that we were talking about installing, and also the one at 7-Eleven in Kindercomack?
no, Al, did the traffic safety discuss Wayne again? I know we had got the recommendation to go forward, it was a matter of funding.
Yeah, no, that was, we were asking Mr. Costa, I think, for a cost estimate,
Yeah.
and I don't think we've gotten that back yet, so that's what we're waiting.
And the county, I asked Gary Ascalise, once he's down the league, to follow up with the county for us, because he used to work, he was the county engineer at one point. I'll follow up with him tomorrow.
So
That one should be easy, 1, 2, 3. So.
maybe we could just follow up with Mr. Costa and ask him where he's at in terms of, giving us a cost estimate.
And did we ask him for both, or just?
No, the other one, the county will stripe the other one. There's no issue. The issue with the Wayne one is that there's no sidewalk on
Right.
on the east side. No handicap ramp on that side, so it's a little more,
So the one at 7-Eleven, we just have to ask the county or the
yes,
planning?
the county will.
Okay.
and They just redid some more, so I don't know, but we'll find out.
Mayor, are we in new business?
Any more unfinished business? Okay, unfinished business?
So Mayor, I'd like for the council and the traffic and safety to consider some traffic calming, some additional traffic calming actions on Howland, if at all possible. You and I had a conversation about maybe striping would be a good idea to narrow the lanes. You shared with me, and I was grateful for that, and I want to say that on the record, the data from the speed sign
Mhm.
that's there. But some residents have shared their concern that it does seem to them, if not the perception in reality, that there are, some very fast traffic movement, and maybe striping or something else. If the traffic and safety could review that again and consider that, or have other ideas, that would be at least something we could look at again if council is in agreement.
When I had that conversation with Ascalise, he had indicated that he thought there was still money. We had given Basel, remember, like a task order allocation let me just check if there's money, because there's still some money left in that, we can have Mr. Ascalise meet with the traffic safety again to see, and I don't think that was really a major topic of conversation yet.
Narrowing?
Or doing any kind of traffic calming.
I mean, there's.
Well, I mean, we're not
There's one-
going to
yeah.
speed humps.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about things like
Four-way
that.
stops, you're not going to make the warrants, so if there's other ways to traffic calm.
We're talking about crosswalks again? I mean, is that,
Not necessarily crosswalks, but they were looking to do four-way stops, and people always suggest speed bumps or speed humps, but based on DOT guidelines, that road would never qualify anyway, the volume's way too high. And
but we could do a four-way stop sign, let's say on
no,
Allen?
it won't meet
No.
I don't think it would meet the warrants either, because it has to do with the balance of traffic going each way. I don't believe there's enough north-south traffic that would warrant a four-way stop. Four-way stop is usually if you have two sort of busy roads,
Right,
and,
right, right,
you know, you can't, one can't get across. But there's specific warrants under the guidelines, you know, road condition, traffic volume, all those kind of things.
So then it's just a question of either striping for a crosswalk or just making
Not
the...
crosswalk.
Not necessarily.
To narrow the
No,
roadway.
See, I think
So-
a
You
central
know, white
line,
line, 2 yellows.
yeah,
you know,
generally a central line will slow traffic down. It's a visual constraint, but most people don't want it because they think it looks like it's too urban. That's been the,
Is that something we can consider on Bogart Road and Fifth Avenue too?
we've spoke about that in the past.
Sorry.
So what, so the mayor and I had this great conversation, good conversation about this, and he had helped me to understand as he is, saying this with record, he is an engineer for Lee, and that the warrants and the constraints, so what might we be able to do? We might be able to do striping. And that's what I'm asking council to have traffic and safety consider, and so at least we can go back to the residents and say, listen, this is what we could do.
We should also, I'm sorry to interrupt, we should also get an update from the committee on any enforcement actions and what he's found, and, you know, if we've given summonses. The larger other question, I think we may have spoke about it too, is there a way to modify traffic during rush hour, coming off the marginal road? You know, it's difficult to enforce, but you know, you can do one of those things where it's one way between, say, 4 and 6 p.m., so you don't have people doing a cut through. But generally, traffic's like water; it'll find its path where it needs to. But those are the kind of things that we could still consider, and I think having Mr. Ascalise and traffic and safety looking at it, maybe we'll come up with something different. So we'll do see that, Councilman.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion open to public, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now open to the public. Anybody wants to make any comments, questions on any issue, we'll have another opportunity at the public meeting.
How you doing? Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Jim Monk. I'm the president of the River Edge Swim Club. I know that it was brought up before here, but I don't believe regarding some of the information that was shared between Maureen Noble, who is our treasurer, and the mayor.
Can you please just give your address for the record?
Of course, 18 Kimberly Way.
Sorry.
But upon the discussions, maybe it was felt that the council didn't have some of maybe some of the more pertinent information. So here goes. So you know, we have 434 full-time members, cover 1,457 people. We have another 81 limited use members covering about 147 seniors. You add in the babysitters, clergy, et cetera, it adds up to 1,945 members. So we're about 16% of the town are members of our swim club. Our maximum full-time membership is 530. So at our current rates, we are down $56,160 in fees. When you talk about the interest on the bonds, extra guest passes, part-time memberships, ice cream sales, all that kind of stuff, it adds up to approximately $60,000, for about 17% of our total budget is what we're off of our maximum. Yet with that loss in revenue, we have been maintaining ourselves fairly well. We've had family and residents come over 23,000 times, which is not too bad considering that we're open a little over 2 months full of the year. So we have not just been sitting by idly and watching the 17% in revenues decrease. And we're still continuing providing safe services. We've advertising with banners. We're putting in val packs. We put up posters in local businesses. We enlist sponsors to come down and pitch our local businesses for minimal compensation. We're running our first fundraiser next week that we've ever run. And last year we ran more events at the pool than we've ever done, ever, at least that we could find out in our history. We've combined management positions. We've made strategic investments that have cut down ongoing maintenance costs. And we've taken on a majority of improvements with volunteer work. So it's not that we are sitting idly by. 2 clubs in our areas have been hit with larger capital expenditures, and we are putting money aside for that. So we know that it's coming. For example, you have to sandblast a pool every 3 or 4 years. We have the money set aside for that. So we are planning for these events because we know that they're going to come. The council has been tremendously supportive of the swim club over recent years. You allow us to advertise on the front bulletin board, and last year was the huge with the JIF insurance. Could not be more grateful. Our number 1 expense is salaries, number 2 is payroll taxes, and number 3 is real estate taxes. So, like any group trying to be fiscally responsible, here I am, trying to see if there's anything that can be done. Our current lease is at $1, and we pay the taxes. That currently amounts to $19,998.60 in 2016. When you break it down per member, that's $46 a full-time member, or 7.8% of their dues go to pay taxes. Clearly, we know that it is essentially rent, but we have our tax bill. This is something that other clubs in Bergen County, such as Ortal, do not have. So we're not even competing against unfair ground. Unlike other groups that I'm sure come before us, we don't think that we are really a drain. First of all, we are a non-for-profit, but we are an enhancement to this town. We never send a child to elementary schools. We give them a place to play and we teach them how to swim. We'll never send a child to Riverdale. We employ them as guards. We never need senior citizens, and we provide a drastically reduced rate for those senior members. It's about half off for those senior citizens. We never take advantage of garbage pickup. We rarely need police assistance, and yet we host our fundraisers. And we don't compete with local businesses, but we give them a place to advertise. We feel that it's not only a good part for play, but it's good advertising for this town as well. Right? We are one of the few in this area that have a really vibrant pool situation. So what we're coming to you is to ask for threefold. One is to see if we can possibly open up discussions to renegotiate the physical part of the lease, to increase the rent portion and remove the local taxes. The second is to remove specific restrictions on noise and operating hours to just be within the town codes. We have our own set of rules. If you really wanted to go through the lease dating back to 1960, that's where they are. And to allow us to add non-residents only if we are not at full capacity. We are always going to be River Edge first. Specifically in regards to the fiscal terms. Our tax breakdown is approximately as follows. We pay $1,700 to the county, $6,600 to River Edge schools, $6,200 to Riverdale schools, $5,000 to the town, $231 to the library, and the killer is the $18 to the open space. I know, but every dollar counts. So whatever this council is concerned with losing, let us do that, and let that be the rent and not the $1. We are open 1 quarter of the year, and yet we pay a full burden and utilize next to none of the services. Perhaps let us pay a quarter of the taxes, since that's all we're open for. And this town does use the parking lots for other activities, such as parking lots for the fields, snow dumps, things of that nature. Let's just pay the amount to the town or the amount to the schools. Something. We are already at a disadvantage relative to other clubs, and we're just basically asking for us to get us a fair shot. In regards to noise and operating hours, again, this is trying to make it simple for the town. Right now, if you change your town ordinances, it doesn't affect us, which seems a little weird that there's 2 sets of rules. And it also does hinder our ability to do things like do fundraising events. Having our rules be the same as everyone else would allow us to, one, make your rules simple, and give us a better chance at having increased fundraiser or other events to help us be more self-sufficient in the longer term. And lastly, regarding the non-residents. It's no shocker that you see that a lot of other towns do have this clause that they allow non-residents. Firstly, I'm going to reiterate, we will always be River Edge first. All we are talking about is with referral of a River Edge resident who is a member, only when there is non-capacity, or when we have some capacity remaining. Right now, we have 96 spots open, so let us open up some of those to our neighboring towns on a referral basis. Right now, that is stuck within the lease terms, so that does make it difficult as our numbers do decrease. So that's the ask. I know it's not a small one.
Well, the council had a pretty detailed discussion at the last council meeting, or the previous one, and consensus, or unanimous decision of the council, was that they're not inclined to modify financial terms for a number of reasons. One, we just can't do it legally without either turning the property back over, because the issue with Oradell was they actually turned the property back over to the borough. We can't do that here. We just can't say not to pay school taxes. We can't let you say you're only going to pay a quarter. All those kind of things don't work. So, the reality is that if you weren't to pay your taxes, that $13,000 that goes to the schools would be distributed over the rest of the taxpayers. As last year, we assumed your insurance also, which was a couple $1,000s. I think the council was open to negotiating any of the other operational terms. That was my recollection. I think that's how it was left.
Great. Well, just let us know what the next steps are.
I don't know what, as I said before, how, did we leave it with contracts, or did we say how we were going to approach that?
I abstained, so I didn't say anything.
I know we can't-
I think it was contract.
Yeah, those contracts.
So we were going to refer to our contract subcommittee, and they can meet with you and whoever else. And
I guess perhaps if you bring a full proposal as to exactly what the changes are with, what the old and what the new is, would make it easier for us to get through it quicker.
I mean, essentially, we would just strike any language specifically for that are restrictions for noise and ordinances, and just say refer one-liner to the addendum saying whatever was in there to be struck and be replaced with whatever is on the current town at the time.
the 96 open spots, what percentage of the membership does that represent?
We are 96 out of 434, if anybody's got a calculator handy.
25%.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
22.
I had a lot of numbers, I didn't have that one handy.
So you'd be looking to create language that would specifically say that residents would be given the first opportunity. What about if you were a non-resident? You entered into well, I'm sorry, this is really for contract, I apologize.
I mean, I appreciate the council's concerns that you always want to make sure that a River Edge resident could become a member. So I don't think you'd ever want to put it at a situation where we're right at 530, filled up by non-residents, and then a new family comes into town and now cannot join.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that we could leave some cap. We know roughly what our numbers are turnover per
Yeah.
year, those types of things.
My thinking would be, say, would a non-resident the second year have the same rights as a resident, or would they again have to be waitlisted depending upon whether residents fill up? And how long would they have to be waitlisted? But I guess that's what
And then I don't
contract.
know whether that thing is legal. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that it is.
I mean, luckily, we can change the bylaws with a vote of the majority, which should be fairly easy to do. So if the council does have those concerns, or the contract committee, however it is done, happy to allow you to have that comfort level that we are always putting River Edge residents first. In such a way, if it's hypothetically, at the beginning of every year, if we have more residents that come, then the non-residents are forced to be back. Whatever you require.
I mean, okay.
Just a question. If the borough owns the property, right? We own the property. It's tax exempt from, if the borough owns it, we wouldn't have to pay school taxes, right?
Correct.
Okay. So they pay it because the agreement was you pay it as rent.
taxes.
Well, it's rent.
No, it says you're paying a tax.
I understand, but we wouldn't have to pay it. We're the landowner. They lease from us.
We lease for you for 6
So we don't have to pay it.
But what we're looking is if it was the equivalent if somebody else owned it.
You know, I'm just trying to understand the record, because like I said, I can't.
The question is, do you
Yeah.
want to say to the rest of the taxpayers, you're gonna subsidize 13,000? It may not be a lot, but that's the question. Simple as that.
Well, is there a portion, I guess, if we're paying,
Even if it was 13,000, Mr. Mayor, that would still cut us down 6,000.
I'm saying though, but, I don't vote on it, but do you want to have the other rest of the taxpayers say you're gonna pick up $13,000 for the swim club? That's where the question becomes.
Yeah, because we're transferring burden then.
100%. We are 0.039% of our, the River Edge budget, and our taxes are 0.0112% of the River Edge School District. That's the percentage of the cost.
But like you were saying, the $18 for the library.
Yeah, well, you know,
But are you ready to say to the other residents, well, we're increasing your taxes $2 a month or $2 a year because of that? Maybe
Yes.
minor, or that's.
A dollar is a dollar, 100%.
Jim, may I ask a question? So if you were to modify the membership criteria and allow non-residents to become members when you were not at capacity, did I understand you correctly that that would go in the bylaws and be subject to a vote by the membership?
Well, there's 2 restrictions. One is in the bylaws, which we have more leniency to change, and then the other is in the lease. So the bylaws, we can do it to the lease, that I would need the agreement of the,
Okay, but my point
so it
is,
has to go into the bylaws as well.
and the membership is who votes on that.
Of course.
Thank you.
And could there be a cap on that? Because when do we get to a point where you're at a number from outside residents where it's not financially feasible?
I mean, if that's a concern of the mayor and council, then that would be no objection to putting some sort of cap of outside residents, whether it be a straight amount or as a percentage.
So like 15% or something like that.
I mean, if those are concerns, then perfectly fine.
I can't speak for council, but I think the mayor characterized it correctly, that we are very open to those 2 areas, ours and non-residents. And
Costs nothing fiscally, and the whole hope is that it helps us keep the cost for our residents lower. Right, if you're allowing for the noise and things of that nature, it allows us to do, still within, of course, the town regulations that are specified whenever you make these changes, to just maybe do a little bit more fundraising activities. Helps lowering our costs.
Good question. Have you, have you polled your membership to find out if they're amenable to this?
They have. Well, one is for the noise ordinances. They've asked us numerous times if we can run
The
fundraisers.
residents, the non-resident portion of it. I mean,
We have-
I'm afraid that people might start saying, well, now it's no longer our town club, and maybe I don't want to pay the money that I'm paying every year to be surrounded by people I don't know.
In polls that we have done, it has passed, yes.
Yeah.
And to Mayor Bastide's point, they would have to vote on it in terms of the bylaws. So if they strike it down, a majority of the members, and they could bring it to any of our open meetings and request a change to the bylaws at any point in time. So the members, of course, have full authority in that regard. Suppose, even if it passes in the bylaws, then 3 years from now, there's a tremendous objection to that. All it just takes is one member to put a motion on the board, and, that's it. It has to be voted on.
I was more concerned about us doing all this work and getting into it, and then it just being voted down overwhelmingly because it hadn't been possibly brought up to the
No, it has
membership.
been brought.
As long as the membership is for it, then I certainly have no objection to hearing what the proposal is and working in any way possible to make it happen so that we can save the club, certainly.
Do we have any idea, or do you have any idea what outside interest there is from other towns? Because I know New Milford's trying to do it, and I don't think they've been very successful in getting people over there.
I wouldn't imagine it being high. In all reality, our biggest one would probably be with Oradell. There are a lot of synergies, obviously, between River Edge and Oradell, and we do know that Oradell Swim Club is experiencing some physical issues, on the extent of which they keep rather close to the chest, but from what we hear, it's fairly severe. And so one could assume that they will either be taken under or go under, however the case may be, from an ordinal perspective. So if that does happen, we would like to be in a position whereby we could offer them memberships at our club. That'll probably be our biggest influx. I also know that things, for example, such as the New Milford pool, I know that their back pool is having a lot of mechanical issues. So we're preparing. It would be foolish of me to come and ask for you after each of those events happen, and those people are starting to search and we're not ready. I'd rather ask you now.
I think we're good.
So, who's the contracts committee?
Danielle?
Arrange a meeting. You will arrange a meeting.
Okay, so Mr. Negrin will coordinate a meeting with the contract subcommittee.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Would anyone else like to make any comments or ask any questions? Seeing none, motion to close the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I want to go back to one thing of unfinished business. We got an email today from that gentleman with the bike presentation. The bike.
Oh, yes.
We just need to make a decision, do we want to endorse it or not, so he can.
The impact of an endorsement is simply to say that
There's no
it's
impact.
fiscal, it's just, we think
Just
biking is good and,
Support.
right. Do we know how many residents cross the bridge by bike from River?
I can't imagine.
I did it once.
No, but I mean commuters, I know that there are some folks in town who do commute biking across the bridge.
The problem is when you get to the other side of the bridge, to get down to the river level
I know,
is,
I know.
and then to
Like
get
that
back.
I mean, it's just, unless you had an elevator, there's no way to even ramp that. You know, there's room.
Yes.
But that discussion came up when he brought us up to Fort Lake. One of the issues was even getting up to the bridge because there's a major issue with one of the abutments that come off of Hudson Terrace, which is the main thoroughfare coming down into Fort Lake. You can't get from the north side to the south side. There's no continuous path, so they wanted to modify the abutment. Pretty big undertaking also.
Yeah.
So either something, a motion to put on the future agenda, or we just table it. Motion to table it?
We don't need to do any motions.
Well, he's asking for an opinion, he's asking for a response, he asks us to do an endorsement. He wanted it on tonight's agenda. So I just think we owe him a response.
Well, we can't table it if it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, if you can table it from discussion.
I don't think I'm ready to really talk about it tonight, to be honest, so.
Maybe we can relist it for
The new year?
the new year. Yeah.
That's the answer for it.
Sounds like 2018-ish.
So then I'll table it to maybe. So you'll let Mr. Let the gentleman's name. Stephanie, you can respond to him. Thank you. Any other new or old business that we might have missed? If not, motion to adjourn.
Just in as far as what you and I talked about, do you want to do it at the next
Yeah,
meeting?
no, do it, we can do it here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I had brought it to the mayor by email last week that we should do something for the women of Riverdale Volleyball who won the state championship. I was hoping that we could do something to honor them, and in the meantime, this weekend, the Riverdale men won the state championship, so we have 2 state champions in our local high school, so I think we should do something to honor their achievement.
Could we make that pretty much a standing action that when one of our student teams, reaches that level, that we would automatically put it on the agenda for discussion and approval?
I think someone have to bring it up. Who's gonna?
Because I think it's easier, sometimes we don't,
I'm not disagreeing, I just know.
this is,
Procedurally.
it's easier to know.
Yeah, sometimes you're not notified that one of those smaller teams has.
Yeah,
done
one
great.
something, yeah.
Mhm.
But, yeah, but 2 separate nights.
No,
Yeah.
we'll do both on the 19th.
Yeah, you wanna do it?
We'll have one more meeting this year, so, you
I just don't want the football team to, engulf the.
Yeah,
I would,
You wouldn't, I
you know what I mean,
mean,
like give them their own separate sort of,
I don't, but then you're talking the end of January, and then it's sort of,
All right, so let's do them both in one night.
yeah.
We'll pack the room.
Well, Stephanie will make the invitations for the school and see, 'cause we've had teams that, like, we had the swim club team who was one, and they never were able to organize it, because they couldn't get enough people to go, and it just never happened, so. Stephanie will make those invitations.
Great.
We'll make
Thank you,
up,
Mr. Mayor.
certificates of accommodation. Cool. Or proclamation, whatever you want to do, Stephanie, either way. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn, and we're going right into a public meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? For the work session, can we have a 5-minute recess? Just to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of Mayor and Council, Monday, December 4, 2017. Please rise for a moment of silent prayer. As everybody remember, a longtime borough resident, Ruth Monahan, she moved to Riveridge in 1958. She's probably one of the only original or longest living people on Concord Drive where I live. Raised 6 kids in our town, and we're sad for her loss. Mr. Sorrell, losing the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Borough Hall, by email to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same, as provided by law of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. I'd like to remind all members of the public that we have 3 fire exits in our council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. Roll call, please.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. A motion to approve the minutes of the regular session meeting of November 20, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There's no proclamations or awards this evening. A motion to open for the public for any issue on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to ask a question or have a comment on any specific agenda item? There'll be another opportunity later in the meeting if you want to make further public comment. Seeing none, motion to close, please.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointment of personnel changes. Motion, please, to approve the salary change of Matthew Muley, patrol officer, from an annual salary of $46,813 to patrol officer 17th grade salary of $55,074 effective December 8, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase of Deborah McDermott, payroll clerk, from an annual step 1 salary of $39,589 to step 2 $42,625 effective January 1, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the leave without pay to Flor Alvarez, custodian, per section 4, subject 1 of the Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual for 4 days from December 12, 2017 to December 15, effective December 5th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase of Christopher Cheever, sergeant in the police department, from an annual salary of $119,531 to $129,093 due to performing the duties of a higher rank for a period of 90 days per contract effective November 30, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the separation of Kyle Joaquin, labor in the Department of Public Works, effective December 1, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the job title change and salary increase for Kenneth Morse, Department of Public Works, from tree trimmer 2, step 5, $60,403, to tree trimmer 1, step 1, $70,948, effective November 5th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And lastly, a motion to approve the separation of Terry Heiser, part-time accounts payable clerk, effective December 22nd, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the agenda, there's various pieces of correspondence listed. Anybody interested can go to the borough clerk and get copies of them. We also have on file monthly reports for November 2017 for the Environmental Commission, Beautification Committee, and the Board of Health. We have no ordinances on for first reading tonight. We have two ordinances on for public hearing. Ordinance 1730, Madam Clerk, please read by title.
1730, an ordinance to repeal Chapter 79, Elliott and Borough Riverbank Board of Recreation Commissioners, and to replace it in its entirety with Chapter 79, Department of Recreation and Cultural Affairs.
Okay, this is our modification ordinance, the revised ordinance to modify the Recreation Department to make it a separate department, make the director a department head. We're retaining the commission, and do we want to address the comments publicly the commission had, whatever comments they had, just to say that we can address?
Yeah, if I could
Yes.
do that. For members of the public who weren't here, we did have a commissioner approach the council to share some comments and request some modifications. There were 4 items. One was dealing with fees, setting of fees. One was dealing with, excuse me, I have to pull it up. I don't have it in front of me. Here it is. Dealing with fees. One was about a wording of the 3 members versus 2 members, which was corrected. There's a question about the CAC, and there's been language in the revised ordinance to give them latitude in how they want to construct that. And the other one was initial terms of 2 years versus 3 years, but I think that's all been corrected. Everything that they've asked has been corrected, and the fee modification has been made that they requested.
Yep.
So I have relayed that to the commission, and so they understand the ordinance we're voting on.
We have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 17-30.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now open for public comment regarding ordinance 1730. If anybody wants to make a comment, ask a question, for or against, now is the time. See nobody, motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion for the adoption of ordinance 1730.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to propose one change. Section 79-20, subsection 6, where it says the ordinance will take effect immediately upon passage. I'd like to change that to the ordinance shall take effect on December 19th, 2017.
Yes, and the reason we're doing that is so there's no gap period between having no commission in place and having everybody reappointed to the new commission.
So I'd make a motion on that change.
A second on the councilman's motion. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now a motion to approve adopt the amended ordinance 1730.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Fidelio?
Yes.
Councilman Rowland?
Yes.
So it'll take effect on
The 19th.
We have another ordinance on for public hearing, ordinance 17-31. Madam Clerk, please read by title.
Ordinance 1731, a council ordinance of the Borough of Riverbank in the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, authorizing the Kenneth B. George Park field lighting replacement in said borough, and appropriating a sum of $30,000 from the Bergen County 2016 Open Space Recreation Just Plain Protection Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund.
And this is actually our allocation for 2016 from the Bergen County Open Space Trust. We're applying it towards the KGB project. KGB project. For $30,000, we're getting back. We had to match $30,000. We have a motion to open public hearing on ordinance 1731.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Would any member of the public like to comment or have any questions regarding ordinance 17-31? Seeing no one, a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a motion to adopt ordinance 17-31.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilor Barone?
Yes.
Councilor Lucy? Councilor Cahill?
Yes.
Councilor
Yes. We have our consent agenda. Based on the work session discussion, we're going to remove Resolution 17-401. That was one of the community development block grant projects. That was the one for converting Oxford into more parking. So we'll have that one first. So we'd like to make a motion to table that.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's add, all right, so we have resolution 17-394 to 17-406, 17-408 and 409, 410 and 411. Motion on those?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have a motion to add resolution 17-412. Resolution authorizing settlement of litigation entitled 711 versus Borough River Edge and Mayor and Council, and 584 Kinderman for Associates versus Borough River Edge.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're back to our second opportunity to hear the public. Opening, please. Motion open.
Payment of the bills.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Finance Chair, please read and move 17-407.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee, now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $407,950.25. Capital account, $171,018.98. Recreation account, $695. Trust other account, $79,698.20. Open space account, $1,866.24. Trust other developers account, $12,295.41. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, motion open to public, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We now open to public for any comment, question, anything. Anything. Want to lose something?
I have a question on someone from some public who's not here.
Oh,
I would be curious if they accept 2 members that were out of town, would they get a full membership for, year after year to town members?
I think, Councilman Pepler sort of asked the same question.
Yeah, my question would be that they get preference for the following year, and that's something, and then I realized that's really something the contract committee should probably discuss, and we should be taking council time for it. But I agree with you, that would be a concern.
I mean, just like a regular member, every year that comes up, you don't have to apply for membership once you remember your member. My concern would be that if there were a certain amount of non-resident members, and then for whatever reason things just changed, and they didn't have this problem with lack of members.
Yeah, I don't,
And suddenly revert, people would have to go on a waiting list.
Yeah, the attorney can speak to it, but I don't know whether you can have two sets of rules for different.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect what they might do, and I'm just throwing it out there, is something similar to what they do now for like grandparents, where you sponsor people. They're not bonded members, but you have to sponsor them each year. We do it with my wife's mother, and so that they can come to the pool. They pay a membership fee. It might be something akin to that, where you have to do it every year, as opposed to a bonded membership that a River Edge resident would do. But don't hold me to that, but I think that's probably what it would be.
Any more comments, questions? Motion to close the public.
So moved.
Give a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Questions, comments? Here you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to begin by thanking the Rec Commission for the wonderful ceremony this weekend, the tree lighting. A lot of fun. My kids had a lot of fun. I'm sure everybody did as well. I'd also, again, like to congratulate both the volleyball team and the football team for their state championships. I know everybody's very excited about it. And that's about it for me tonight. Thanks.
Councilman Papaleo.
Yes, I'd like to echo thanks to Rec Commission, Bobby Conway, Fire Department, DPW, and Beautification for the Christmas tree lighting. DPW set up the artificial tree, which is beautiful with its lights. Beautification did the lights on the living tree that we had planted. The Fire Department escorted Santa in, which was great, and Rec made sure that we had cocoa and a place for Santa to meet all the good little boys and girls, plus the Girl Scouts for a wonderful rendition of Christmas carols, and so many of us were there. It was really, really a wonderful experience. We'd like to report that Beautification has been changing the pots over to the winter time by our businesses along Kinderkamak. They're going to be doing some sort of lily or bulb planting this week. They did a great job on preparing Bowlaholics and the library and the other spaces for the holiday season. The Beautification also decorated the Vansung Park tree, the River Edge tree in Vansung Park during its winter wonderland. I'd like to thank the DPW for their leaf collections. They've done it at least 4 times the entire town. And sadly, they're going to have to do it again because the leaves are not falling off. I think what it is we're lacking strong winds to help. Now, you might think to yourself, oh, well, why is this such a big issue? If the leaves are not removed before the first snow, that impedes, obstructs, and can cause, a dangerous situation for snow removal. Very dangerous.
And we had that happen when we had that Halloween snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So, believe it or not, I'm hoping for a nice windy rain to take care of the leaves. Also want to thank the DPW for putting up the decorations, the snowflakes on our decorative lighting up and down Kinderkamak. Beautification met last month, but I was either at the municipality or the NJEA convention, teacher development, and same thing with Shade Tree. But I kept in contact with them. I would like to report to the council via phone and have had regular conversations. So that's it. Oh, did I say the volleyball and football team? Congratulating them for their wonderful win and for our great school systems who support and foster these sort of competitive sports and the achievement that they bring. Thank you.
Councilman Bartolone.
I'm just going to say ditto. That's
Councilman Christie.
The same for me.
And I will echo everybody's congratulations to the volleyball team and the Riverdale football team. And I'm going to give my better luck next year to St. Peter's Prep. And my son's alumni now, who didn't fare so well against the Catholics, but we'll congratulate the Bergen County team for winning a convincing on Friday night, which I was there. Again, Bobby and the rec commission, Girl Scouts, everybody else, DPW, police vacation, fire, police, with tree lighting. It is one of the more fun events we have of the year, and seeing the kids get excited when Santa comes, it never gets old. It's really fun. Councilwoman Davis had asked me to make an announcement through the fire department. She had gotten notification from Chief Schultz and Assistant Chief O'Connell that we graduated 3 new firefighters last week: Barry Goldbrenner, Kevin Petrie, and Eric Sadowski. And there were 3 of the 125 new firefighters graduating from the academy. The firefighter 1 class is 28 weeks of 2 nights a week driving to the academy in Mahwah, attending 3-hour classes, which consist of classroom lecture, first aid training, hazmat training, and live fire training for a total of 159 hours of training. So obviously the commitment to do this is vast and serious, and I know Councilman Davis wanted to offer her congratulations and thanks to them also for taking this, as will I, and I'm sure the rest of the council does as well. Just quickly, last Friday, I sit on I'm the borough's representative to the Community Development Block Grant Regional Subcommittee, and whether it was good or not, I was made the chairperson of the whole region. And one of the, I call it a benefit, was that last week they arranged a tour to us to go to see some of the nonprofits who actually benefit from community development funds. And we visited 3 local nonprofits. One was HIP, which has to do with disabled people; the ARC, which helps mentally challenged and physically challenged people work; and the Fair Housing Council. And I got to tell you that they need to get better press. All the great things that are going on, all the good things they're doing, all the people they're helping, it's just not getting out there. And the amount of money they're doing this with is got a shoestring budget. But it's really encouraging to see the level of commitment and dedication these people have for all these different causes. And I said I hope that they get more notoriety, because a lot of people aren't even aware that these services are available to them. So I said it's a very good experience to go. Oh, lastly, it was fun to meet Ronald McDonald, because man, the cheese was out of town apparently. I got to do the ribbon cutting at McDonald's. Grimace didn't show up, neither did the hamburger. But anyway, it was fun. It looks like the opening day was very well attended. The inside is a pretty neat facility, and we wish them success. Without anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So, second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
I think opposed for 7:30.
Yeah.